The back and forth between the Academic Staff Union of Universities and the federal government seems to be far from over. Students in public universities in Nigeria will have to spend more time at home as the union has again extended its ongoing strike by 4 weeks. President of the union, Professor Emmanuel Oshodeke, who disclosed this in a statement, said the decision was to give the government enough time to resolve all outstanding issues with the lecturers. The extension started with immediate effect on August the 1st. The nationwide strike started on the 14th of February over issues of poor welfare condition, failure to renegotiate earlier agreements signed, and the alleged imposition of IPPIS by the government. Well, joining us via Zoom to discuss this is the chairman, ASSU UNILAG chapter, Dr. Dele ASSU. Good morning. Thank you for joining us on TVC Breakfast.
Good morning. Thank you very much for this invitation. It's my pleasure to be here.
Right. Another 4 weeks have been added for students to stay back at home. Tell us what really is going on between your union and the federal government. Where are we with the conversations?
Well, thank you very much. As you can see, there's really not much going on at the moment. We were at the National Executive Council meeting over the weekend to review our rollover strike, which lapsed midnight 31st July 2022. At that NEC meeting, we took reports from our principal officers whose duty it is to engage with government on our behalf. And the report was not very encouraging. However, NEC took cognizance of the presidential directive, which he gave to the Minister of Education to do all he could to end the strike in 2 weeks and report back to him. We also took cognizance of the overwhelming support we received from Nigerian workers as demonstrated on during the protest on Tuesday and Wednesday last week. We particularly took notice of the support we also received from Nigerian students during this period. And consequent upon that, we thought that if we put all of this together, we should be able to give government another few more weeks to put his ass together, reach out to our union on our core demands, and if, the proposals are something to go by, we could get back to work in 4 weeks. So the reason why the strike was rolled over for another 4 weeks is to give government and the relevant agencies, its relevant agencies, to do what is right as quickly as possible so that we can put this crisis to a closure.
Yes, what is your sense of the state of the negotiation as we speak?
Well, there are frank, sincere, and progressive conversation and negotiation as we speak. But in any negotiation, there are two parties. We have our proposals before government. It is the duty of government to say we can go this much, we cannot do X, Y. So I am aware that there are some talks ongoing, which we hope can, make our union review its position. But as I speak with you, there's really no seriousness on the part of those whose duty is to take crucial decisions to end this strike action.
So are you saying you're confident that there wouldn't be wedges because the president of the union some days ago in an interview said that federal bureaucrats were throwing wedges into the union's negotiations. So are you confident that that won't be happening since you say it is progressive?
I am not, I can't be confident. I can't speak for a people whose antics is not in the interest of the Nigerian people. You see, the challenge we have in Nigeria is that those who take decisions on our behalf don't have a stake in the system. You know, they don't seem to be patriotic. Because if you do, I mean, where in the world will universities be closed for 5-6 months and bureaucrats are there, you know, working in a very lackluster, very lackadaistic manner because they don't have a stake. Their children are not here. So I cannot be confident because if you look at it, we've been on this back and forth. I mean, this is the 13th year. And since we commenced this strike, there has been series of talks, including people who go to meetings and go back to government to tell lies. Can you imagine the guy from the income and salaries and wages government bureaucracy who said he was chased out of a meeting which he signed? His signatures are on all the documents, only to go back to his commission and misinform, you know, his principal. And rather than investigating, the Minister of Labor and Productivity will come on air, you know, and feed Nigerians with lies. So we are in a country where trust is deficient. So we can only talk about our own, you know, understanding of the matter, our own actions that we have taken in the interest of Nigeria and its people. It is the duty of the Nigerian people to then hold those in government accountable and responsible for their actions and inactions.
All right, Dr. Ashiru, yesterday the Minister of Labour said that they had resorted to the use of voluntary conciliation instead of arbitration to try to resolve this issue. What does this mean for the negotiation going on now? What difference would this make?
You know, when you are in a relay race and you are unable to collect the baton from the person who is to hand it over to you, and consequently you lose the relay race, you find a face-saving grammatical jargon to cover your shame. Where was the voluntary conciliation? Did he not know about that when he was throwing spanners into all serious, frank, patriotic effort to resolve the crisis? Where was he? So it was when the president kicked him out and told him that, look, hands off this thing and let's have, you know, meaningful and frank discussion. That is when he remembers his voluntary vocabulary, voluntary concept. What does it mean? Ask him. For us, our position is very clear. Our document is with government, whichever way it calls it, whether through arbitration or through voluntary conciliation, whichever way. He who comes to equity must come with clean hands. The Minister of Labor and Productivity had presided over more than 3 memoranda of action with our union with no meaningful implementation. And it's still there. People like that ought to have leave government office. He shouldn't be a minister anymore. Consequent upon his failure, under his watch, all tertiary institutions in Nigeria are on strike. All the unions in the universities are on strike. And he's still there, blowing big grammar, voluntary conciliation. Is that what we end the strike?
You guys were very angry and are still very angry with the Minister of Labor. So they asked him to step aside and have Minister of Education, Adamu. But you are not making progress. So you see, so why are you still angry with the Minister of Labor? You are not saying anything about the Minister of Education and what he's doing this time, because he's supposed to be in charge now.
The Minister of Education is in charge. I told you that there are frank, honest, and progressive conversation, discussion, negotiation.
But you said they're
between
not
our union
serious.
and the
But
minister.
you also said
We
they're
never
not
had that
serious.
when Ngige was flexing muscle and talking down on his fellow ministers on the intelligentsia in Nigeria. Who is he?
But you have just contradicted yourself. You said that the conversation was progressive, and then you said the people were not serious, and that you have no sense of where the thing is going. Please try to clear the fog.
I didn't say any of such. And
You
I
said
have not
you said they are not. There's some people who are not serious. You said so just now.
Maybe for emphasis, Uncle Sam, I started by saying that there are honest, frank discussion going on between our union and the Minister of Education. And then I was asked whether I have confidence in the process, and I said only the minister can say that. What I can say is that our union is engaged in a frank discussion with him. Whatever comes out of the discussion depends on the mandate he has from his principals. And I cannot be a spokesperson for government. I can only speak for my union, because for our union, I am a member of the National Executive Council, and I am there when decisions are taken, and I can communicate that effectively. So I have not contradicted myself in any form.
All right. Now, the position of the union is clear, like you have said, and you said you're having frank conversation. But at some point, the Minister of Labour, Chris Ngige, also said that Nigeria is broke. I wonder if you're getting that sense from the Minister of Education, because if you're insisting that the position and the demands of the union has to be met, where does this leave you?
If the demands have been met, we will still not be on strike. And there's no reason why, if any of the demands have been met, we will tell Nigerians how far we have gone about it. The truth of the matter is that negotiation is still ongoing when an amicable, a middle ground position is reached between our union and government. We will go back to our colleagues and brief them. And if they are satisfied with what government is offering, we will then be in a position to summon the National Executive Council meeting to review our position, because that's the only organ of the union that can review the current position.
All right, Dr. Ashiru, the president of ASSU, Professor Osodeke, in an interview recently said that no lecturer has been paid since February. Can you confirm this to Nigerians at this time? Because we know the contention between the issue of no work, no pay situation. We know how that controversy has been. And the professor is accusing government of using hunger to force ASUU to come to the table or force them to resume the strike.
You see, once our president speaks, it requires no confirmation. You have heard it from the chief oracle. The truth of the matter is that very unconventionally, and to demonstrate Ngige's hatred for intellectualism and intelligentsia, within the first month of our declaration of the strike action, contrary to International Labour Organization's convention, negotiations were ongoing. The Minister of Labour authored a letter to the Ministry of Finance asking them to stop our salary, thinking that by the stoppage of our salary, like beggars and hungry people, we will rush back on our knees to beg him. We have demonstrated to him that intellectualism, thrives with asceticism. 5 months running, 6 months, Ngige stopped our salaries. Our members are resolved that we will continue on this struggle until government is compelled to do the needful. And we will not be coerced by what Ngige is doing, deploying the weapon of hunger to compel our members to go back to work. So let him take notice that our members are prepared to endure as long as he stopped our salaries, but he's collecting salaries and dancing, traveling all over the world. If we are truly in conciliation, he should, in solidarity with us, also stop his own salary. But here we are. You have stopped the salaries of all lecturers in Nigerian universities, all those who work in Nigerian universities, including non-academic staff. The Minister of Labor stopped their salary in a democratic government. So we know that people who can't be intellectuals cannot have respect for the intelligentsia. So we are waiting. We have not been paid. We are waxing strong. We are moving on, and we will not waver until our demands are met.
I'm very sorry that they are not paying you salaries. But do you keep hitting at the Minister of Labor? Do you think that the problem is actually from him or from decisions made by the government generally, and it's the face that you guys have had to deal with? Because you are saying that the Minister of Education is having frank and productive discussion with you, and you were given 2 weeks ultimatum, and the thing didn't work, and it's now 4 weeks. Is there a sense that you guys are trying to be nice to the Minister of Education because you guys really want to go back to work, but you guys have kind of failed it with Ngige? So you want to be nice to the Minister of Education, because I think it's the same government, and the 2 weeks have elapsed, and you guys are giving them 4 weeks. I don't know the game you are playing, Mr. ASSU.
Uncle Sam, which kind of logic are you deploying here, sir? Which kind of logic?
I'm asking you a question. I'm not asking you about logic. I'm saying, are you guys just being nice to Adamu instead of you look at, you've seen Ngige as a punching bag, and you're trying to play good cop and bad cop. You want to be nice to Adamu and be bad to Ngige, and so on, because Adamu has failed you in 2 weeks. You guys went to the streets with the NLC to say that they should get it done in 2 weeks. They didn't do anything in 2 weeks, and you guys are not even angry with that. I mean, you are still angry with Ngige. It's not even there.
Uncle Sam, can you please stop being an advocate of Ngige?
I'm not an advocate. I'm just asking you guys.
Can
a
we have a
question.
conversation, please? I didn't interrupt you when you were talking, Uncle Sam.
Okay, go ahead.
Let's have a conversation. You will still have your time. If you follow our discussion, the 2 weeks was a presidential directive, not ours. And the NLC protests had been called even before the presidential directive. So let us have, a chronology of events. Now, so far, the disposition, in our view, of the Minister of Education is to bring this strike action to a closure. Our union is not a partisan union, and we operate only on facts. If the Minister of Education is also not doing anything, I will come here to tell you, how would I be nice to one of the people who up till now were suffering because of their actions and inaction? So it's not a question of being nice, it's a question of telling Nigerians the truth. And we are not known for embellishing the truth. The truth is that this matter would have been resolved a long time ago. Call Ngige and ask him. He went to the Federal Executive Council meeting to bungle the first proposal we had, even up till he was kicked out of the negotiation. Please, let's not reduce this matter to interministerial squabbles and discussion about persons and ministries. Let us focus on the core issue, which is our demand that will enable us to go back to school. Are you saying, Uncle Sam, that you don't know that there's no coordination in this government? Are you saying that you don't know by Ngige's utterances that there are no love lost between the ministers? So please, I don't want to be dragged into discussing persons. Only little minds do that. Let us discuss issues and ask me questions in relation to the issues, the state of the negotiation, and I will tell you the truth and nothing but the truth.
Okay, talking about the negotiation, the BRICS agreement. What state are your state are you at? Because you have not given us any information.
It is the same document that the Minister of Education is discussing with us.
How far have you gone? What are you ready? What are you ready to concede?
Only the National Executive Council and our members can decide that. I can't sit down here and tell you that we will concede A or B or C. Let's have the proposal. When we see what government is offering, we will discuss it in a democratic manner, in the tradition of our union, and tell the world what the situation is.
Are you not concerned that after 2 weeks ultimatum, there's still nothing on the table to go by? That's why you guys are on strike. You guys should tell us what is going on in that negotiation, because if the 2 weeks have elapsed and nothing has happened and you guys are on strike, you should let us know what is going on. You guys have not even communicated. The government has broken down. You guys have not communicated.
All right.
When the negotiation is concluded, we will brief the public. That's our tradition. Each time there is a meeting of our union, your media organization attends our press conferences, and we send our releases to that same organization. So please, discussions are ongoing in line with the convention, International Labour Organization Convention. It is only when negotiations are concluded and an agreement reached that the public is informed. What Ngige did the last time was a violation of all known extant regulation in labor organization and and the principles of collective bargaining.
All right.
So please, discussions are ongoing. When there's an agreement, our union will call an international world press conference to tell the world what the government of Nigeria is offering its intelligentsia.
All right. Now, with the back and forth with regards to strike over the years and all of it, is the union looking outside the box for ways of funding the institutions? Because nowhere in the world has the government funded universities alone, or education, basically.
Well, I once mentioned on this platform that there's no time we make proposals for government and we don't include in it innovative, very creative ways of funding education in Nigeria. As you may care to know, the biggest intervention funding agency today in Nigeria is TED Fund. TED Fund was the brainchild of our union. As I speak with you, in this document that is being discussed, there are ingenious ways that we have recommended to government through which funds can be raised to fund education. Whilst it is true that there's nowhere in the world where governments solely fund education, even that is not absolutely correct, because in Germany, in Finland, in Rwanda, and some other places in the world, education up to tertiary level free. But Nigerians don't copy such models. They copy the neoliberal models dictated by World Bank and IMF and foist it on us. Secondly, the role that tertiary education is expected to play in a new colony like Nigeria is different from what tertiary education is playing in all of those worlds that you are talking about. In America, you don't need a university degree to live a good life. In Nigeria, your life is incomplete if you don't have a degree. So we have to also put all of these issues side by side when we talk about funding. What we know is that if all the leakages in government are blocked, there's enough resources in Nigeria to fund education. The budget of the National Assembly is bigger for 409 people, bigger than the entire budget of education for more than 10 million Nigerians. Those are the kind of things Nigerians should confront and redirect, resources to productive engagement that can develop a society. And one of such is education.
All right, Dr. Ashiru, the Minister of Labour, Christine Ngige, yesterday talked about the fact that what is left that will be in contention now is the condition of service, which narrows down to the issue of salaries and wages. And deducting from that, it looks like all the other issues have been agreed upon except salaries and wages. Nigerians are asking questions from the issue of salaries and wages, how sacrificial or how altruistic is, or how sensitive is ASSU is, if the issues of salaries and wages is what is now keeping the lecturers at home and away from schools, when the students who are supposed to be in school are at home.
Well, I don't know where Ngige got all the things he told us in that is press conference. I don't know where he got them from. But even at that, are we making the argument that Nigerian teachers should continue to earn the same salaries, the salaries they've been earning 12 years ago? Ngige himself admitted that our salaries are poor and they deserve to be reviewed. So if that itself is admitted by government, one then wonders why, government will not do the needful to also minister to our demands at that level. So yes, if according to him, what is left is the question of salaries, if they should find a way of resolving it. Are they not collecting salaries? And are we also saying that there are no correlation between the welfare of those who teach in the university and the students that we teach? If we abandon this progressive struggle, 75% of those students you are referring to cannot come back to the university because the situation there are not only disparate, they are, to say the least, exploitative. And our union over the years have also taken the issues of our students and the conditions under which they learn very seriously. So it is a matter that government must resolve, and it is long overdue. We have been in and out of strike in the last 12 years to get government to review how much was $1 in 2009 and today. And you expect the people, the best brains in the country, to be slaves because they opted to teach in the universities? Please, lecturers in Nigeria deserve some respect from all and sundry.
Please answer this question. So people said that, and some of your members have said same, that this matter may not be resolved unless the president himself is directly negotiating with ASSU. Does that make any difference? Because whatever the options are still going to be taken to the table of the president.
It's all a matter of will. If we don't have to sit down with the president. Why? If those he are delegated to are working conscientiously and patriotically, here they could reach an agreement, take before president, explain to him honestly the situation and this matter resolved. Look, if government is serious, this matter can be resolved in 24 hours. All of them. Because the issues are clear. The highest paid professor in Nigeria today earns 416,000 naira. That's less than $1,000. There's nowhere in Africa where a professor is so poorly paid. Shouldn't that prick the minds of the president, government agencies, and all that? So what we are saying is that we deserve, to be respected.
All right, we have to leave this conversation here now. We only hope that the government will look into the issues and address it as quickly as possible. But we must thank you, Chairman ASSU UNILAG Chapter, Dr. Dele Ashiru, for your time on the program. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much for the invitation. It's always a pleasure to be here, and it's very engaging.
Thank you.